afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all so much for being with us here today. It's really wonderful to see so many passionate people here, enjoying some food, connecting with one another, and spending time together in support of the G2G Rail Trail. I am very pleased to be joined today by Huron County Warden Jamie Heffer, and he's going to offer us a little bit of an opening and a greeting here.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Huron County Council, it's my pleasure to bring greetings to the G2G Rail Trail organization at today's AGM. The G2G Rail Trail is a tremendous asset to our communities. It supports active transportation, healthy lifestyles, while also strengthening regional tourism and contributing to the economic vitality of the communities along the trail. Visitors drawn to the trail support our local businesses, accommodations, and attractions, creating meaningful benefits across our region. This success would not be possible without the commitment of your volunteers, your partners, and your supporters. Your dedication to maintaining and enhancing this important corridor helps connect people, communities, and brings opportunities from Goderich to Cowbell. I would also like to recognize this afternoon's guest speaker, Jeremy Shute, whose remarkable journey offers a meaningful perspective on connection to our waterways, to our history, and to our communities. And we look forward to hearing his reflections this afternoon. Thank you for your continued leadership and stewardship of the trail, and best wishes for productive and successful annual general meeting.
Thank you so much, Warden. We really appreciate your continued support of the G2G Rail Trail and the communities it connects. Okay. A few years ago, Miss Marcy was involved in filming a Calendar for a Cause TV promotion connected to G2G, and today will actually be the first time that it's being publicly viewed at one of our events. So to help us kick things off, I'd like to invite Miss Marcy up to say a few words and introduce her video.
Hi, I'm Marcy Rigling, also known as Miss Marcy, Canada's Beautiful Girl, and a little shout out to my nephew, Owen Rigling. He's my nephew, so you know him. Yes, 3 years ago, 2023, we did a calendar episode here, and I see some of the beautiful models out in the crowd, a few of you. And it's interesting because I kind of really relate to an organization like this where they really start off with a vision, right? And every year it's like, you gotta keep going, you gotta keep going, you gotta just keep chucking along, you know, finding the right funds and all that good stuff. So I believe that's been my role in this world right now. And when it comes to Calendar for a Cause, it was on Bell Canada's 5TV app, and it never really got, I mean, you had to have the app to see it, so not a lot of people did. And so I'm very excited to show it, especially to the people that were involved, because you're wondering what the heck's going on with this. And throughout the time that I did that in 2023, funding was said it was there, and then it was taken away. So as you probably know, as a nonprofit, that does happen sometimes. And so we didn't end up making a calendar at the time. We got awareness through the calendar, through the show. But I would like to kind of announce that right now, in the last 2 months, I've been scouted by Netflix, and I'm going to be on some TV shows. I'm doing a lot of great things. And so this Calendar for a Cause show is going to be seen. And you are going to see it. It's going to be on Netflix eventually. We might have to make another one, who knows, right? This is also only 13 minutes long. I mean, that's 13 minutes long. I know it's long, but I'm trying to be short. I'm trying to like not talk too much. But I just kind of wanted to I know we spoke with us and about my career moving forward, and it's finally happening. So I feel very blessed to be able to speak on behalf of that and actually show you guys the show. So I'll leave it up to that and enjoy. Thanks. series. Calendar for a Cause. Calendar for a Cause is an initiative of community, creativity, charity, and care. We travel from town to town and partner with a foundation in each new area. Whether it be an organization, charity, not-for-profit, shelter, or other foundation, we gather a group of volunteers to transform into a pinup makeover and participate in a photo shoot. These photos create a unique calendar that collects proceeds that go back to the participating group and its community. Hi, welcome to the next episode of Calendar for a Cause. I'm Ms. Marcy, Canada's Pinup Girl, and in this episode, we're working alongside Goddard to Guelph Rail Trail Association.
So the trail really goes back to the original railway and really impacted the communities, and the communities evolved around it. And the interesting part is that now, as we evolve the rail trail, and we see people traveling from one end to the other, from Goddard and the region of Waterloo and Guelph and so on, back and forth, it's having the same impact again on the communities that it passes through. So it's found a new purpose. And in some respects, we're not so much building anything as just repurposing an existing structure.
Yes. Well, let's get you ready. You're up next. You ready?
I've got my shovel.
Let's do this. Okay, thanks, Chris. As we travel from location to location along the trail, let's set up a pinup.
My connection with G2G started as a way to help people get off the road and onto the trail. So 7 years ago, I was hit by a car on the road. And to be able to get back on my bike was a really big goal for me. As I developed myself as a professional accessibility consultant, I knew that making that trail accessible needed to happen. My whole goal is to make spaces more accessible for everybody. And this space just happens to be 123 kilometers long, right? You're just in a safer place when you are on the trail, and the G2G is the most amazing place to do that. So.
So this section we're standing in right now was established about 30 years ago. So it's 990 acres and 132 kilometers of green space. Back in the late 80s, when they said, well, the train's no longer viable, we're going to pull it out, the province thought, well, we might not want to lose this corridor between the Kitchener-Waterloo, Guelph area and the shores of Lake Huron. So they were intuitive enough to keep it, and that was great. And steward groups in this area stepped up, community groups stepped up and said, well, let's get the trail going, because the province said we can have this as a trail, but we have to maintain it, and we have to make sure it's safe. And that's, in the essence, what G2G Rail Trail Inc. does. As a registered charity, we make sure the trail stays open and safe.
Yeah.
And it's up to people to find it. As a registered charity, we build the trail, we maintain it, we want everybody to come out and use it. But it's really the municipalities who want the tourism. So the municipalities who want the tourism, they've got to get out there and create a buzz in their community to get people like myself and my group today to come to their community. So we'll stop in the community, we'll do certain things. So when you have something like a calendar out there that's on the wall 12 months of the year that people can look at, it just keeps reminding them that even though they may not think of it at first, the charity always needs support. We always need that financial support. So we have to become front of mind, but when you're 132 kilometers long, 990 acres, most people don't think of the entire trail. And when I'm talking to people or if I'm wearing a G2G jersey, people recognize it. And that's kind of nice. Like I grew up in Lake Huron shoreline. I've been living mostly in the KW area most of my life. And now to be able to go back to Lake Huron on the trail without using a car, not having to do that, and think about all the people, whether they're 5 or 95, that can still do that safely, that's what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no, I like that. Have fun and be safe. Woo! Thanks. Love your helmet. Bye. Woo! Let's do this.
you're propelling this whole thing with your arms. So needless to say, it's exhausting, and we're good for about 25 kilometers or so. So we were able to do the whole thing, and it was awesome, spectacular.
We've reached the end of the G2G Trail at the end of this episode. Thank you to all the models and the Goderich to Guelph Rail Trail Association for your participation. The calendar is available at missmarcy.rocks, so make sure to grab yours today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next episode.
That was excellent.
Thanks. Good. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Marcy. It's always really special to see something like that and to be reminded of just how many passionate people have helped shape G2G over the years. Seeing all those volunteers involved is a really powerful reminder that this trail has always been built by community. Projects like G2G don't happen on their own. They happen because people care enough, give their time, energy, and creativity and heart. So before we move on, I just wanted to recognize and thank all of the volunteers who have contributed to this work in so many different ways over the years. And with that, we'll move into the formal part of today's annual meeting. Welcome officially to the 2026 G2G annual meeting. My name is Willow Hall. I'm your executive director. And today is a chance for us to reflect on the past year, celebrate the progress that's been made, recognize the people who make this work possible, and look ahead to what might come next. The G2G continues to grow because of a strong shared commitment from volunteers, Guardian members, board members, partners, and supporters across Ontario and beyond. Today we walk a trail that has a long history. The lands this trail crosses, the river valleys, the forests, the prairies, all carry stories that go back long before the trail itself. You can still feel that history here. We want to take a moment to honor, remember, and recognize the enduring relationship that Indigenous peoples have with this land, past, present, and ongoing. The G2G Rail Trail runs through the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Chippewa of the Thames, the Mississauga, and the Odawa peoples, across lands covered by Treaty 29, Treaty 45.5, Treaty 3, and the Haldeman Tract. As we spend time on this trail and we work to care for it, we are aware that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. We are still learning what it means to be here in a good way, to approach this work with openness, with humility, and with the willingness to listen and to grow. We don't take that lightly, and we know that this is ongoing work. Thank you again for being with us here today. To give you a sense of where we're going this afternoon, we'll begin with a bit about G2G's history and story, then hear a message from our chair. From there, we'll move into the review of the past year and the finances, and then we'll have the formal annual members meeting portion of the meeting, and then we'll look ahead to 2026, and finally we'll close off with our guest speaker. At the heart of G2G is a simple but powerful vision, to spark a deeper connection between people, place, and purpose, where every journey fosters belonging, every step renews our bond with nature, and every trail leads toward a more vibrant, resilient future for Ontario. To help bring us back to where this all began, I'd like to invite Doug Searson up. Doug? Doug is a founding director and was here in the early days when the G2G concept was first imagined and started taking shape. He played an important role in helping build the foundation for this project. And he's going to share a bit about the early history of G2G, where the idea came from, and some of the people who helped along the way.
I didn't get hair and makeup in that video. I'm gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. You know, it was about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago when we first filled this room. I'm just curious, I had a few people say they were here, but how many people were here when we filled the room like 8 years ago? Oh, sorry. No? No show of hands? Not that many. Anyhow. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me out. So, standing here today, I can't help but to reflect back on the journey that brought us here. It was several years ago, and the idea of G2G was nothing more than a sketch on a map, and a little more than hopeful. It wasn't, there was no blueprint. We didn't have a manual. We certainly didn't have a cornerstone. And the absence of a cornerstone wasn't a weakness. It was an invitation for creativity, for ideas. So I have fond memories of my first end-to-end assessment of the parts, if you will, quote, parts of the trail. It was covering over 13 communities. We all know this route was first laid in place by a rail line. 100 years later, the rehabilitation of the Minnesota Bridge and the development of the Kissing Bridge Trailway began. You know, some organizations begin with a single defining element, a cornerstone that dictates the shape and the direction of everything that's going to follow. G2G Rail Trail did not start that way. Our foundation had no single cornerstone, and it became our greatest strength. You can see this kind of mashup of the video beside me on the left. There's a lot of people that came together, and a few inserted other videos of interest. Without a cornerstone, every stone becomes the first stone. Every volunteer, every donor, every partner, every kilometer cleared, every bridge built, every community engaged, each one became part of our foundation. Each one helped define what this trail is and what it will be standing for in the future. Over the past several years, we built something remarkable, not because we followed a rigid plan, but because we embraced possibility. We allowed the trail to evolve, to adapt, and to respect the dreams of the stakeholders who believed in it. I just figured out what's going on. That is so much better. We grew not from a single point, but from many hands, many hearts, and many visions working together. Our foundation is strong precisely because it is shared. What began as a theme in 2008 with Spring on the Trail was quickly followed by a collective movement of building bridges and connecting communities. This rapidly pivoted to a fully functioning, going concern, registered charity, and operational conundrum. It was built from the determination of volunteers who showed up in the rain with their shovels and wheelbarrows, from the generosity of donors who saw the potential long before the trail was continuous, from the creativity of partners who imagined new ways to connect communities, economies, and people, and from the resilience of everyone who refused to let the obstacles, be it financial, logistical, environmental, define our limits. Our foundation has no cornerstone because we never needed one. Our strength has always come from the collective, not the singular, from collaboration, not hierarchy. It came from the belief that the trail is more than a path. It's a connector, it's a catalyst, it's a community builder. Now, and after a tremendous creative effort, coupled with passion and persistence, we'll all stand on the path of something great and extraordinary. And quite literally, we will be able to stand together in spaces that have not been connected for over 30 years. The installation of the Wallenstein Bridge over the Conestoga River, as announced, will be a massive contribution to our future momentum. The work that has been completed so far, every kilometer improved, every partnership formed, every event hosted, every story shared, has positioned the G2G Rail Trail experience for a future of incredible impact. We are no longer just maintaining a trail. We are shaping a legacy of accessibility, sustainability, recreation, tourism, and community connections. This will outlast all of us. I'm pretty confirmed with that. I can recall many presentations, steward groups, meetings, trail work parties, and many faces, a lot of you here today. Over a lot of years, many years, hence the glasses and the need for makeup. All of which contributed to the growth of the organization and the success of the G2G Rail Trail Association. So I was asked to highlight a couple significant turning points today. I had one job. They gave me one job. I cannot do that. There are just simply too many contributions that have a significant impact on our success. I have lots of stories. I'm happy to share them. I've shared many today with people who are asking. But as you saw from the screen, there's just so many things that happen from end to end in this trail. What I do want to note, though, is what we've built together is not just a route across southwestern Ontario. It is a route towards possibility, towards healthier communities, stronger local economies, and a deeper appreciation for these borrowed lands that connect all of us. What the beauty of a foundation is without a cornerstone is that it remains open to new ideas, new leaders, new partnerships, and new dreams. It invites growth, it welcomes evolution, and it has certainly guaranteed that the G2G Rail Trail experience will continue to adapt and thrive for many generations. So, as you can reflect on how far we have come, we will continue to look ahead with excitement. Because I think the story of the G2G Rail Trail experience is just being written. The foundation is strong, the momentum is real, and the opportunities are bigger than ever. We'll hear more about that. We began without a cornerstone, and today the foundation is built on hundreds, maybe even up to 1,000 stakeholders, and it's enjoyed by thousands of users. And tomorrow's wide open for us. I want to thank everybody for the continued support in this collective experience that we've all enjoyed. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Doug. It's always important to take a moment on where the G2G started and to recognize the people whose vision and effort helped us get here. History matters, and it gives a really valuable context for the work we continue today. I'm joined by Dawson up here from MVP Lisa Thompson's office, and he had a few words to share.
Hello, everyone. I'm here on behalf of MVP Thompson. I just work out of her office in Blythe here. This is, I'm really happy to see the turnout that we have here today. It really reinforces the idea how it's a staple in our community to have the G2G Trail. We look forward to continuing conversations with Chris as well. He's been out at our office a few times, keeping us in the loop on all the projects and the progression of the trail. So we look forward to continuing those conversations. And I think it was last summer. I have to ask Chris about it, but we had former Minister of Environment Andrea Kanjan up in Goddard at the trail, and we ended up taking a walk and having conversations about how we can support them with future projects. And so I just want thankful to be here today, and I just want to wish everybody a great rest of their day and have a great meeting. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Dawson. All right, now I'm going to welcome Dave up to the front here, and Dave is going to introduce us to our board of directors.
Thank you, Will. The G2G is my happy place. It's the place where I go to get away from the supreme misleader that seems to be filling our airwaves. It's the place, like right now, I have this difficulty because I want to stay informed with current events, but I also want to stay sane. So the G2G is that place. And also hanging out with people it's amazing the number of people that showed up in those videos who are here and believe in this trail. And now I'd like to introduce the core members of the board of directors, the top dogs, the people who say they're in charge. These are our board of directors. So would they please stand when I call out your name? Our board chair is John Kipfer. John, give us a wave. There he is at the back. Ross Watson, who is running registration, is our vice. Ruth McClelland is our secretary. Ruth is here somewhere, way at the back. Sarah Brenneman is treasurer. Thank you, Sarah. Jeff Cowan is our legal beagle. Jeff. Rebecca is not with us today. Matt Reinhardt is here. There he is. Arlen Leeming is here. Arlen, there he is way at the back. Tim and Peter are missing, and then Ian is here. Ian Wart, there on the side. And myself. Again, the G2G doesn't exist without you. Without you as the members, without you as the supporters, without you as the volunteers, without you as the donors. Thank you very much for all that you do to make the trail my same place. And John Kipper is going to come up and have a few words for us. John.
Thank you for those words. A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. As was a quote by Colin Powell, who was a former USA Secretary of State. Over the past 38 years, since the corridor that we know as the G2G Trail closed as a railway, there has been several dreams for this 132-kilometer incredible linear strip of land in Ontario. But the dream that became reality for what we see today was to transform a piece of abandoned, overgrown land into a trail from Guelph to Goderich that could be enjoyed by almost everyone. This has been made possible, as it was stated already many times, by many volunteers donating countless hours of sweat, determination, hard work, and financial donations. I want to thank both the dreamers and the workers that made so many sacrifices to give us the trail that we enjoy today. In the last 6 months, I've biked on some amazing trails in some amazing places like Italy, Utah, and Florida. And while I was riding them, I was dreaming about the possibilities of having a trail and a supporting infrastructure like some of those in Ontario. I then realized that we have the foundation for this dream literally in my backyard. I live in Millbank, and literally in my backyard is the G2G Trail that goes by. You may know it if you've done the trail as the property with the rest area. That's our property, and what a beautiful trail we have. What a beautiful piece of infrastructure that can be the same place, the happy place for so many people. Our executive director, Willow, who I want to thank so much for all the incredible work that he has done to help us become what we are today. He truly is an amazing young leader, and it is such a privilege to work with him. The executive board that was introduced to you, we're all continuing together to think big about what the future of this trail could look like. We're committed to protecting lands permanently and to explore opportunities that could help strengthen the trail for generations to come. We have been in conversations with a range of partners, including the province, as we consider options that support long-term protection and connectivity and public benefit. This next chapter is in no way about replacing or minimizing the extraordinary work of the volunteers and leaders who have built this trail. It is about building on that foundation with care, ambition, and respect for everything that has already been achieved. At this stage, we are being thoughtful and cautious about speaking to specifics about those plans, but there is a great deal of interest in the future of the corridor, and we are exploring possibilities, but there's nothing specific for us that we can share at this point. I hope each of you will continue to share in the vision of this already great trail and what it can become, and encourage others to support the G2G Rail Trail in ways big and small. We would love to see it continue to grow as an uninterrupted world-class trail that is accessible to even more people, both locally and from afar, with the amenities and support that help people connect with each other and with nature. Thanks for your commitment to the G2G Trail and for your attendance today.
Okay. Thank you so much, John. Oh, I can't say enough, John. Your guidance and your leadership, and then where'd you go? And what you've done and accomplished and helped us accomplish over the last couple of years has been truly amazing. Your vision and your passion for this trail, I think it's very infectious as our board has continued to grow and to thrive. So I really appreciate everything you've done. All right, here we go, year in review. So 2025 was a year of strong progress, and this review highlights the breadth of work happening across the trail. Together, these projects show a broader pattern. G2G is actively improving the trail experience and strengthening the network piece by piece. Okay, so I'm going to speak to each of these projects, and I hope some of them are recognizable if you've seen them before, and maybe even if you were on the trail and saw the improvements just last year. So at the beginning of last year, we were successful in completing the Sturdy Drain project. That project might be best recognized by the small metal bridge that was kind of on the side of the trail, just southeast of Auburn. So in that specific area of the trail, and that was there because there was a large open ditch there. And so with the support of the local municipality, Central Huron, we were able to put the culvert back in there and create a nice smooth stone dust surface across. So can't even tell exactly. So why is that important? So a lot of people who might not be able to traverse where the very helpful landowner was allowing us to use his laneway, but it was still a steep, kind of bumpy path. And so that's where many people's journeys ended. They turned back, back across the bridge, back to their vehicle to get around to the other side or just back home. So these accessibility improvements are really, really important. Next, we had our stone dust project in LHR. So again, I'm going to talk a little bit about why we do stone dust because I think it's important. So in this specific section of LHR, which is Lake Huron Route, so the section up near Huron County, in that section there was basically from east of Highway 21 bridge, which is, if you've ever been to the Minnesota Bridge, keep going east and you'll hit another bridge that crosses the highway there. So east of that, we were successful in completing about 7 kilometers of stone dust that we did. And we do stone dust for a specific purpose. There was a lot of center growth there, so that's grass and stuff growing up in the middle and growing in from the sides. And what that happens, a lot of us it doesn't affect because we walk within the 2 rows or we cycle within the 2 paths. But if you're on a trike or a hand cycle, which has 2 wheels at the back, your one wheel is riding in the center of the trail. So you're hitting those grassy bumps, you're hitting that, and it's kind of tossing, it's kind of dangerous, and it's certainly exhausting, as one of our volunteers from that awesome video, Cindy, would let you know. So that was completed, and about 1,000 metric tons of stone dust went down. I did want to, at this point, if it's okay, recognize Chris Lee and call him up to talk about how we get some of this work done. Chris?
Dave Conlon said something about the G2G being his happy place, and I'd echo that. And I think mine is when we're out there doing these stone dust projects. there's nothing more gratifying than getting a day's work done and seeing that that ribbon going off down the trail. Remember, and we've got a few of the other key volunteers here today. I know Amy Hill, Con Lady, John Moore. Were you pointing at somebody else there, Con? But these are the sort of people I invite you to have a chat with them. Get involved in this aspect of trail maintenance. This sort of thing demands a lot of effort in a short period of time as a rule. It's not like one of those maintenance things. These tend to be little projects. We got to line up trucks, we got to line up equipment, we got to get stuff done in a short time frame, and we need people with some equipment skill sets. But as I say, incredibly rewarding. Nothing I've probably done around the trail that more satisfying than seeing those kilometers done this fall. And I really want to echo what's being said on the accessibility issue. As able-bodied people, we underestimate what this means to a large chunk of our population to provide that universal quality of trail. The hard surface, the width, the lack of grade is already built into a rail trail. It's unique in that it gives the opportunity for a whole population of people to experience wetlands and forests and the whole experience of being on the trail. And that if we deviate, if we let things like that culvert, are minor inconveniences to you or I, but we're actually only a very small step away, an illness or an injury or something, from that being a barrier. And that's the case for a large chunk of our population. So, these efforts that go into it are incredibly enabling, and it includes a whole chunk of our population. Otherwise, we'd never get to experience that. So, anyway.
Thanks so much, Chris. All the trail for everyone, right, Chris? So you can access all the trail for everyone. That's been a guiding feature and motto for us. And so we're going to continue to talk about accessibility in a moment. But before we do, we are very, very fortunate to be joined by Donna from the Minnesota Bridge Association. And there was a lot of work up there that happened last year. So she's going to talk and come and speak about some of that.
Good afternoon. I did the old school thing, which is just to put up a board at the back that you're all welcome to have a quick look at. Just some of the pictures that most of us didn't get to see what was going on the bridge, but we have a collection of photos that remind us of the fact that a lot of awesome work was done. So between April 21st and a snowy day of December 10th in 2025, just shy of 8 months, speaking about accessibility, the Minnesota Bridge was closed to public access, and I think we all found out what that meant in terms of what the implications of detours are. During that time, $1.1 million worth of repair and enhancements were achieved, and the majority of the work was to refurbish the spalling concrete on the water piers 2, 3, 4, and 5, add rebar, steel cutwaters, and sealant to the tops of the piers. With the access structures that we had in place, we were able to do a more fulsome engineering review than has been done in the 30 plus years that it has been a pedestrian walkway. And fortunately, that report does not indicate that there are any major repairs or closures needed, at least over the next decade. So good news for all of us. I counted up from the report, and I believe that there were 74 cubic meters of concrete that were exchanged on that bridge. I think that's over almost 200,000 kilograms. So a lot of work. And if you see how it all had to be hauled up onto the bridge and out in order to maintain the environmental integrity of the aquatic system. Major financial contributions to the project were from the Federal Development of Southwestern Ontario grant, $200,000. Major contributions from the municipalities on both sides of the bridge, Town of Goderich on one side and Asheville, Colwood, and Mawanash on the other. But I would also like to note that over half of it was raised from the generous contributions of local community individuals, businesses, and service clubs and trail groups. To me, that really speaks to community. And today, the special thank you is to G2G Rail Trail
financial assistance was welcome, but also those letters of support for the grants and just the communication assistance and everything that Bill pulled all out of the hat for us. So thank you so much. And if you have questions, I'm happy to ask them, or to ask them, to answer them.
Thank you so much, Donna. So it might be a bit confusing, different organizations up here, but this whole G2G Rail Trail is built on partnerships. Donna's from a separate organization, not G2G, who fundraised millions of dollars to fix a bridge that directly benefits G2G. So what would the G2G Rail Trail be without the Minnesota Bridge? If you've never been there, I invite you to go there. It's near Goddard. It's not too far from here. It's a bright, sunny afternoon. You can go check out the Minnesota Bridge. And it's a massive, beautiful bridge, as you can see it right there, and it has brand new piers, and it's open today. So thank you again so much to Donna and to the Minnesota Bridge Association for all their hard work. Map boards. So we have, who has been to our annual meeting in the past? Anyone was here last year? Yeah? We have talked about map boards for maybe 2 or 3 years now. So we have new map boards up on the trail. They were installed late last year, around November, so there's a good chance that many of you might have not seen them yet. But there are new map boards on those lovely kiosks. And I want to just highlight really who these map boards are for. They might be for yourselves, but they are also for people who are coming and who are brand new to the trail, who are coming from places like Toronto and further, and they've never seen this trail and they're confused. They get there and they're like, I see it straight one way, I see it straight the other way, it seems easy enough, and they start heading to Guelph when they're trying to go to Goderich, right? So these map boards are at those key parking lots, those key access points, and they're gonna allow them to find you where you are and where you're going next, and it just makes that experience so much more welcoming for everyone. So obviously a very important project, and we're really happy to have those new map boards up there. So please check them out on your next journey on the trail. Next, we're going to talk about some of the capital projects from last year. So the culvert in Milverton, we have, and I just wanted to highlight, it's kind of, if you've never looked down the side of the trail where those rivers or those little streams kind of go through from the farm fields, you might not know, but the rail line built these massive box culverts. Pretty big structures, but we had one in Milverton which was undermining, so it was actually the sidewall that was getting deteriorated, and so stone dust was falling straight down and then into the stream. Anyways, long story short, we worked with another great municipality, and we're able to put that culvert back in Milverton and open up about like a 1.5 kilometer section of trail that people had to detour on the road around. So that was a great project. To give you an idea, that's about like a $70,000 to $80,000 project, and obviously the central, or in this case, it was Perth East who really helped with that project. So definitely another example of great partnership. There are many aging culverts along the trail. We're looking into doing some assessments so we can figure out the exact age and integrity of each one, so we can make sure long into the future we're not reacting and we're being proactive. Smith Creek Bridge. So this bridge is just east of Milverton. And if a couple years ago, I think in 2024, we changed the detour route. So we were able to have a conversation with one of the very friendly adjacent landowners there and use his laneway. So now people could go down his lane or down this little trail that we created beside the laneway. And then it shortened the detour quite a bit. The next phase of that work is actually to put a bridge back in. I'm standing kind of up on the top of the trail there and looking over across to where the trail continues. So there's a little creek right before that road. And so to put a bridge over the creek, over the road, and then kind of continue on. So last year we did topographical and legal surveys to determine exactly what was there and exactly, basically help with the feasibility and detailed design work that needs to come. So that's what we did last year for that project. And we talked with a contractor. It's probably going to be a $1.5 to $2 million bridge. Really early days, not sure on those prices, but to give you an idea. It's not one of these massive bridges like the Conestoga River, which we'll talk about, but it is still an important connection. Conestoga River Bridge. So this is also known as the Wallenstein Bridge, and it's in Wallenstein, so that makes sense. Just west of Elmira, and basically, the work that was happening last year, and I do want to read a little piece here because I think it's important to get some of this right. So the Conestoga River Bridge project has been strongly led by the chair of that fundraising committee, Len Jewett, over 3 years now. Working closely with the Township of Wellesley in 2025, Len helped advance engineering, the environmental assessments, to the point where the region of Waterloo formally was engaged as a project lead and took the project over. After that point, Len worked with the engineers and the region of Waterloo to continue to move this project forward. That work happened last year. The work that happened last year was the environmental assessment, the detailed design, more fundraising, and public consultation. So that was the work that happened last year. I'm going to talk more about this project as we get to 2026. Okay. Oh, and I almost forgot the Bridge the Gap to Guelph project. So the work that happened with Bridge the Gap last year, so that's a project that's, if you're getting to the end of the trail at Silver Creek and you're trying to get into Guelph, you're going to get stuck and have to turn down a very, very busy road, and you won't be able to go much further. That project, which is not a new project, it's been in the works for a long time, the lands that we need to go on are City of Guelph lands, so we don't lease that area. It's not part of the current rail segment, because there's an active rail line there, which is the Guelph Junction Railway. Anyway, so we're trying to get and bridge the gap into downtown Guelph. So the work that was completed last year for that was a preliminary engineered design, about a 30% design, which gave us a cost estimate about $1.5 to $2 million. Again, very preliminary design. Those numbers are definitely going to change. We did landowner engagement with 2 key landowners and got their letters of support for the project. We also did a lot of consultation with Guelph Junction Railway, GJR, and we were able to complete a rail safety audit. So being a trail that runs right beside an active rail line, a rail safety audit was conducted to prove the feasibility and the safety of that connection, which it was proved by the engineers to be safe and feasible. All right, so that was 2025. We have a few trail stats here just to have a peek at. So 347,000 trail adventures and about 141 unique trail users. We repaired the 2 culverts. We increased maintenance quite a bit last year, so hopefully everyone noticed the better quality of trail. We did much more maintenance, and that's obviously thanks to our volunteer groups and steer groups in all those areas. And obviously we did install those 7 map boards. So just to give you some figures there. All right, so now we're going to have our financial review. So I'm going to welcome up Sarah, who's our treasurer, and she's going to give us a brief, exciting overview of the finances.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll try to keep this as exciting as I can. I find it exciting. I know a lot of other people don't. But it is my pleasure to serve on the board of directors for the G2G Rail Trail, and as the treasurer, I'm pleased to present the financial reports and the results for Bridge to Guelph Rail Trail Inc. for the year ended December 31st, 2025. Overall, 2025 was a very strong year financially, with continued growth in our assets and a solid financial position that supports G2G's long-term sustainability. Starting with our statement of financial position, our total assets increased significantly to approximately $773,000, up from about $530,000 in 2024. A key driver of this increase is our cash balance, which grew to about $469,000 compared to $285,000 last year. This improvement reflects strong funding inflows, especially in the final months of 2025, as well as prudent financial management. We also see the addition of guaranteed investment certificates totaling $114,000, which shows a move toward investing surplus funds more strategically rather than holding everything in cash. Property and equipment remains relatively stable at around $175,000, indicating no major capital changes this year. On the liability side, total liabilities are approximately $236,000, up from about $180,000 last year. The most important item here is the deferred revenue contributions. These increased significantly, about $240,000 combined, which is current and long-term. This is actually a positive indicator. It means we've received funding that is restricted for future use. So while it shows us a liability today, it represents secured funding for upcoming projects and work. Now, after accounting for liabilities, our net assets grew to approximately $537,000, up from about $349,000 in 2024. This is a very strong increase of nearly $190,000 year over year, and it reflects strong revenue performance, careful expense management, and the continued financial stability of G2G. We also introduced our membership program and received membership dues of over $20,000, which is an exciting indicator of the growing popularity of the trail. I also want to briefly touch on the statement of cash flows. This helps explain how we arrived at our strong cash position. The organization generated positive cash flows from operations, meaning our day-to-day activities actually brought in more cash than we used. We also saw cash increases from funding and contributions received during the year. Some of that cash was then allocated into GIC investments, which is why you see both higher cash and new investments on the balance sheet. Overall, the cash flow statement shows that we are bringing in sufficient cash to support operations. We're building reserves, and we are managing funds proactively, not just holding excess cash idle. This is an important indicator that G2G is not only financially strong on paper, but also has healthy cash movement and liquidity. I'll also briefly summarize the notes to the financial statements, which provide additional context behind the numbers. The statements are prepared using standard accounting policies for not-for-profit organizations, ensuring consistency and transparency. Revenue recognition explains that funding, especially grants and donations, is recorded when received or when it becomes receivable, and in some cases, deferred until it's used for its intended purpose. The notes also clarify how capital assets are recorded and amortized, which explains the relatively stable balance that we see year over year. There's detail on deferred contributions, as I mentioned, reinforcing that these funds are restricted and will be recognized as revenue in future periods as related expenses occur. Financial instruments and risk disclosures indicate that G2G's exposure to risk, such as credit or liquidity risk, is relatively low and well managed. Importantly, Note 8 adds a correction to an accounting error from a previous year, in which G2G's contributions to the construction of the Blythe Tunnel were recorded as a G2G asset. However, G2G does not have ultimate control over the tunnel, and therefore it is not our asset to record. This note acknowledges and makes that correction. Overall, the notes confirm that the financial statements are prepared carefully, consistently, and in line with standard practices, with no unusual or concerning items to highlight. I also want to briefly discuss the auditor's report. The financial statements received a qualified audit report and opinion. This is common for not-for-profit organizations and relates specifically to the difficulty in fully verifying donation revenue completeness. Importantly, this is not a concern about misuse of funds or financial mismanagement. It's a standard limitation due to the nature of donation-based revenue. The auditors have otherwise confirmed that the financial statements present fairly the organization's financial position. In closing, G2G is in a very healthy financial position, with the resources needed to continue maintaining and developing the trail. I'd like to thank the board, Willow, and also all of our volunteers for their continued efforts, and also I'll acknowledge our donors and supporters here today, whose support makes this work possible. If you have any questions, please find me after the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. Great job. And thanks for everything you've done over the last year to improve our accounting processes and bookkeeping. It makes a huge difference. Okay, now we are going to move into our annual members meeting. The agenda includes a call to order, the presentation of motions, appointment of the auditor for year-end 2026, approval of the slate of directors and officers for 2026, and confirmation of the next meeting date. Before we move forward with motions, let me explain how voting is going to work today. If you are a member and when you registered, you will have your Guardian cards. If you are a member of G2G Rail Trail, either last year or this year, and you don't have a Guardian card, can you please raise your hand now? Dave is going to find you and give you some Guardian cards. So once a motion is presented, members will be asked to vote on that motion. You have three options when it comes time to a vote. You can vote in favor of the motion, against the motion, or abstain from voting. So you're going to raise up your Guardian card when it's time to vote. A raised card will indicate your vote. Any questions on how we're going to vote today? Still handing out a few cards. Okay, so motion number one here. The first motion we have for today is to appoint Caliber LLP Chartered Professional Accountants as the auditor for year-end December 31st, 2026. This motion is necessary to ensure that we have a professional firm conducting our year-end audit and providing transparency in our financial reporting. The floor is now open for any questions, comments, or discussion on this motion before we proceed to a vote. Okay. So, thank you. If anyone is for, if those who are for the motion, please raise your card now. Who's going to tally those up? Okay, thank you. You can lower your cards. If anyone is against the motion, please raise your card. Thank you. The motion has passed. Last motion. See, it's nice and short. Short and sweet. The second motion we have for today is to nominate and elect the directors and president for 2026. Just so you know, directors serve 2-year terms and the president is elected every year at the annual meeting. That's from our bylaws. This motion involves voting on new board members and the president who will help guide the GDG Rail Trail through the coming year. The floor is now open for any questions, comments, discussion on this motion before we proceed to a vote. Okay, so we'll now proceed with the vote. First, if you are in favor of nominating and electing the proposed directors and president for 2026, please raise your playing card now. Perfect. You can lower your cards. Now, if you're against the motion, please raise your card. Thanks so much. The motion has passed. Okay. Before we dive in, thank you. So thank you, members. Next meeting is April 11th, April 10th, 2027, and you're going to get an email as you did this year and the year before. Okay, so I'm going to invite Dave back up here, and Dave is going to talk about our amazing GDG Guardian membership program and the success it's had.
Thank you. It's interesting when Willow was talking about repairs. People have to understand and realize this trail was a railway that was built in 1907. So some of those culverts are existing culverts for a long time. And that's what happens to stuff from concrete over the expanse of time. It does come time to replace it. So we are on the hook for replacing those culverts and those passageways as we go along the trail. One way that we do raise funds is through our Guardian membership. So the people that just raise their cards, they are Guardian members. And if you are a Guardian member, you get a vote at the annual meeting, and you also get discounts at places like Cowbell. Nothing better than getting 10% off your beer when you go downstairs as you're leaving. That's a great thing. You also get discounts at anime, so butter tarts and beer and soda. That's a great thing. So we have over 30 sponsors who are businesses along the trail who, once you have the Guardian membership, you are allowed then to get the discount of the sponsors. People ask us, can I write this off? And we have talked directly to CRA and they say no, because you're receiving a benefit from the discount, so therefore you cannot receive the taxable receipt. Anyway, it's $132 for a single or $200 for a family. And what that does is it raised over $20,000 for us last year by this time. And guess when we need a lot of money? Right now, because we're starting to pay for things. So that's what the Guardian program does for us. A lot of our fundraising and donations come in December when a lot of things should have been paid for about 4 months ago. So this allows us to get ahead of the game and have money in the bank and to pay for those operational things that putting stone dust on the trail right now helps us out with those things. So that's the Guardian membership. Because you are a member and you've been invited here, you get a newsletter. So I'm always looking for personal stories of you on the trail, or your son, or your grandson, or your granddaughter, your wife on the trail, your husband on the trail. People love to hear your experience. So if you have an experience on the trail, please send it to me. I'll write it up, make it look pretty, send me a picture, because other trail users want to hear about your experience. And whether it's you did an E to E, for those of you that don't know it, E to E is end to end, and you don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in pieces. Again, we'd love to hear your stories. Please send them to me for the newsletter. And that's it.
If you are a 2025 or 2026 Guardian member, do you want to raise your hand? Wow, that's amazing. And we do have a couple Guardian memberships left, so if you're curious and you want to contribute, go find Dave or check out the registration table after. Can we get another just round of applause for all the Guardian members and all the supporters, please? Thank you. Okay, we're going to talk about 2026. We've got a couple more slides here, and then I'm going to turn it over to our guest speaker. We'll have a little break before that, so don't worry. So looking ahead to 2020.
I just noticed in your agenda, I think you were going to vote on the financial report.
Oh, sorry. If that was that in the agenda that was sent out?
I thought it was on the screen there.
So this is a change. So I'm going to talk about this. I think this is really important. Thank you for bringing it up. So normally in past years we have voted on the audited financial report before it's approved, before it actually is finally signed and approved. This year we presented the report. That's what Sarah was doing there. But at the advice of our auditor, it was discussed, and we were told that we really shouldn't be doing that if it's not in our bylaws. And why shouldn't we be voting on it? It's because as members, you guys aren't involved in the day-to-day management or the month-to-month reporting that goes back to our executive board and the rest of the board as a whole. So it's a little tricky for you to be responsible for that. So basically, we're presenting them, they are approved already, and that's a change from this year to previous years. So I think, does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I just saw it on the agenda in the previous slide.
Okay, well,
I just thought you missed it.
No, all good. If it's on the agenda, that's my mistake then too. I forgot to change it from last year, so I appreciate you pointing that out. Onward to 2026. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these projects kind of in order and what we think or what we have planned for 2026. So the KBT Access Point project. KBT is Kissing Bridge Trailway, so that runs near Regional Waterloo, Elmira, and into where Guelph is. And so these trailheads, these road crossings where we have these gates, they were installed back in the 90s, before accessibility standards were really there or certainly enforced. And so some of the bollards, which are the upright pieces that you kind of have to ride through, they're very narrow, and some of them are falling in. They're a little bit of a hazard. And this isn't a sectional trail that's actually leased, not by us, by the Regional Waterloo and Wellington, so they're our partner on this whole project. And so we've advocated on behalf of all the trail users who come to me and talk about the need for this. And so through the help of our amazing volunteer, Andy Heel, who has also been advocating strongly for this project, we are going to modify all these gates and access points and make sure they're fully accessible. We're going to basically take out the center. As you can see there's kind of a model of what it will look like. And the opening is going to be, it'll exceed AODA specifications and be about like more than 1.2 meters wide. And that way, instead of kind of going around the bollards or getting off your bike and doing it safely, you can ride straight through. So that's going to be a huge improvement for accessibility. So the next project we have is going to be our history storyboard. So if you've been to Millbank, you would have seen one of these history storyboards. These are a bit tricky because we have to get it right. We don't want to reprint it 30 times. And so we have to consult the local community and make sure we're doing these correctly. But we do have some funding in place from some generous donors to do a few more of these history storyboards. So we're going to conduct that work and hopefully get them drafted, printed, and installed. There is a chance that we might be working with some drafts into next year for installation. So just a heads up on that. But those are going to be great. Those are going to talk about a lot about the rail history because it is a rail trail. So building on the communities that were there because that grew up around the rail line and talking about the rail and the rail trail experience. And so those are what those history boards are going to really focus on. I also wanted to mention the maintenance on the trail is going to see a huge improvement this year. We're investing a lot more money into trail maintenance, and we're really empowering our local volunteers and our steward groups to conduct even better trail maintenance. It's kind of been increasing year over year, especially within the last 3 years. And we're looking, that stone dust, a lot of which in Perth was laid in 2020, is really needing some help, and some of it's really needing some renovation. So we're going to be investing in 3 full-time tractors, so rented tractors at a discount from one of our great sponsors. And so we're going to be renting tractors all summer to give to each of the steward groups. They're going to have their own tractors and their own equipment to operate the tractors instead of driving up all the way 132 kilometers down and 132 kilometers back like we used to, which we used to do that in the last couple years, which was great. This is just going to mean more maintenance runs, and the volunteers have access to that equipment exactly when they need it. So it's going to hopefully lead to a major success and a huge improvement in the trail quality and condition. Next, we're going to talk about some of these capital projects. So these are hopefully familiar capital projects now. The Smiths Creek Bridge, we're going to move that into a preliminary design. So with the legal and topographical survey that was done last year, we'll take that work and create a feasibility study / preliminary design and really figure out, can we span this little river and this road safely? There's obviously height limits and considerations. So this is the behind the scenes work, laying the foundation for the eventual detailed design and then future construction. The Guelph Gateway completion project, if you've seen the news locally in Guelph, we have received some major support from the City of Guelph for this project. The Mayor Cam Guthrie, through Strong Mayor Powers, had allocated about $123,000 this year for work on the detailed design and scope GIS, which is like an environmental study, to complete the preliminary work for this project. So, with everything going correct, we should have a 60% and a 90% design completed, really detailed cost estimate so we can know exactly what this is going to cost, and a pretty firm route, as well as environmental assessments and GRCA permit approvals. And then we're basically moving into funding and construction. And we hope that can happen next year, obviously very dependent on what happens this year, and funding. As I mentioned before, that project at a 30% design was about 1.5 to 2 million. I think it's likely going to increase when we talk about detailed design and get into really some of the specifics. So that's just good to know. That's where the Guelph project is at. But we are working directly with City of Guelph staff and Parks team on that. And there's also many other partners within Guelph, the local trail community through GTUC, the Guelph Trail User Coalition. We're all very supportive in pushing for this project. The Conestoga River Bridge. I have a little something here to read about the Conestoga River. So, when it comes to the Conestoga River Bridge, we have some very exciting news. A new private anonymous donor has come forward, helping to build on the extraordinary leadership already shown by Len and Brenda Jewett, who have committed $3 million towards this project. With this additional gift of $2.5 million, total community fundraising for the bridge now exceeds $5.5 million. We're also pleased to share that Regional Council has approved unanimously moving forward with funding the balance of the project in the amount of $1.2 million and has committed to construction this year, pending landowner approvals, permits, and final funding agreements. If all goes well, construction on the piers could begin as early as July. With that momentum behind us, our eyes are now firmly set on the next two high-priority bridge projects, the Grand River Bridge and the Maitland River Bridge. Once the Conestoga River Bridge is completed, those will be our next major capital priorities. If you are interested in helping us move those projects forward, I'd love to speak with you after the meeting. There is still important work ahead in areas like funding, environmental assessments, and design, and I'd be very happy to chat more about any of those next steps with you. To close us up here, we're going to have Dave come up.
Just want to thank our sponsors, because all along the trail, they are the people that help us do things. And Cowbell has sponsored us here today, so Sam is going to come up from Cowbell and just say a little thank you.
Hi everyone, I just want to say thanks on behalf of Cowbell. We're so happy to be a part of all the sponsorship, being able to help host all of you here every year. I know that there is a G2G member trail. I don't know if you can purchase it today if you don't have one. It does give you 15% off in-store at our general store on any alcoholic beverages, and it does give you 10% off, which is great. It gives you 10% off or 15% off in the restaurant on food too if you were to dine in. You just present that to your server and they'll take care of that for you. But yeah, we're super, super happy to be able to keep hosting you year over year and be a part of it and see all the great progress that everyone keeps making and all the contributions. So thanks again, and we hope to see you next year.
Yeah, sitting on the back porch with a cowbell is my happy place as well, but don't tell me that. Also want to thank the Ontario Conservation Accelerator. They are people that have helped us and are helping us with the Conestoga River Bridge and future projects. So they have sponsored the food here today. And another huge sponsor all along the way is Trans-Canada Trail. They sent me a letter which bears reading because of one important paragraph, and you'll see your part when it comes by. It's from the Trans-Canada Trail. I was getting a little put those on. Dear Guelph and to Goderich Rail Trail community, due to short notice, we're not able to make this meeting, and I hope these few words convey just how much this trail and the people behind it mean to all of us at Trans-Canada Trail. The Guelph to Goderich Trail has been an outstanding partner within the Trans-Canada Trail network, and it's exciting to see the progress along this corridor year after year. Building and maintaining a trail of this caliber is no small undertaking. It takes the dedication of countless volunteers. That's you, local organizations. That's you, municipal partners. That's you, and passionate advocates. That's us. Working together towards a shared vision, the G2G exemplifies that collaborative spirit, and we are proud to have you as part of our national network. Now here's your part. I also want to recognize Willow Hall. In my time with the Trans-Canada Trail, I've had the pleasure of working with him, and I can say without hesitation that he is a strong, thoughtful, and dedicated leader. His passion for the G2G and commitment to moving things forward are evident in everything he does, and the organization is fortunate to have him as a champion. Let's give him a round of applause. Trans-Canada Trail is part of our national trail network, and they are proud to support and celebrate partners like the Guelph to Goderich Rail Trail and all those making significant contribution to trails in Canada. The work you are doing matters, not just locally, but as part of a national legacy of connection, community, and the natural beauty of Canada. That's what we're about, and that's what's important to us. We're coming to the end of our annual meeting part. Are there any questions from the group? Any questions, just general? Jeff?
Now that you get some free legal advice, someone asked a question about the materials for the meeting. Last year's annual general meeting minutes are in the materials, but they neglected to say that you, the members, voted to approve amended bylaws and new articles of incorporation. So that's just because someone had an eagle eye back in the financial statements. So just picking that up.
Thank you, Jeff.
Any other comments, questions? Don't be shy. Give me the mic. No? No questions? Yeah, so we're going to pause for 10 minutes and have a little break. Stretch your legs. Don't go too far. We're going to have our guest speaker, Jeremy Shute, come on in a few. Thank you.